Thank you for your patience and sorry for the delay. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Shadaya.
Thanks, Echo. And again, sorry about the delay. We did have some technical difficulties, but we are all set now. Happy that you guys are all here to join us. I'm just gonna really quickly share my screen. So thank you all again, as we said, for joining us. Again, my name is Shadaya Bennett. I am the Senior Legislative Analyst here at ACNJ, or Advocates for Children of New Jersey. So ACNJ, to begin, is the largest nonprofit multi-issue child advocacy and agency in New Jersey. We believe in advocating for the holistic well-being of our children. Our goal is to ensure that every child is afforded the opportunity to grow up safe, healthy, and well-educated. We value the collective wisdom of our community. That means giving voice to parents, service providers, and every concerned individual willing to champion the cause of our children. Our advocacy is not just about voicing concerns, it's about listening, understanding, and building bridges. Our monthly Lunch and Learns are a manifestation of this philosophy. This month's topic is understanding the state budget, empowering advocates to shape New Jersey's future. We look forward to a productive and enlightening session. We've ensured the presentation is recorded for those who might not catch it live. However, in the spirit of fostering an environment of trust and open dialogue, we will stop the recording after the presentation for Q&A to allow for candid and enriching discussion. Thank you for being here, and we encourage you to embrace this safe space of collaborative learning and mutual respect. And with that, we'll get started with the presentation. So what is the state budget? The New Jersey state budget is the official financial plan that outlines how New Jersey raises and allocates funds for a fiscal year. It reflects the state's priorities, determining funding levels for essential services that impact residents' daily lives. Key components of the budget are revenue and expenditures. The budget must be balanced, meaning the state cannot spend more than it collects in revenue. Revenue sources include taxes, federal aid, and fees, while expenditures, meaning what the state government spends, covers essential programs and services. The budget follows a structured process from development to approval and implementation. The state budget definitely impacts children and families. Funding decisions shape access to early education, school meals, healthcare services, and family support programs. Investing in children today strengthens the state's workforce, economy, and overall well-being for future generations. So the budget process. Here is outlined some key dates and deadlines. So between January and February, the governor drafts his or her budget proposal. By end of February, early March, the governor delivers the annual budget address, which outlines spending priorities. This year, the budget address for fiscal year 26 will be on next Tuesday, February 25th. Then between March and May, the state legislature holds public hearings and committee meetings to review and amend the proposed budget. And then in June, final negotiations between the governor and the legislature take place, and the budget goes through the full legislative process. So by June 30th, the budget must be passed by the state legislature and signed into law before the July 1st start of the next fiscal year. Failure to pass the budget on time risks a government shutdown. Now, some key players in the budget process. First, we have the governor who proposes the budget, delivers the annual budget address, and negotiates with the state legislature before signing the final budget into law. We have the state legislature, so the Senate and Assembly, that reviews, amends, and approves the final budget. We have state agencies that provide data and funding requests to shape the budget priorities for the administration. And last but certainly not least, we have advocates, community organizations, and members of the public who influence the budget by highlighting critical issues, testifying at hearings, engaging with legislators, and mobilizing public support throughout the process. So some key steps of the process from proposal to approval. First, we have the governor's office and state departments or the administration that develop the initial proposed budget. So state agencies assess funding needs and submit their budget requests to the Office of Management and Budget. And then together, the governor and the state treasurer set their budget priorities for the administration. Next, we have revenue forecasting. So the New Jersey Revenue Advisory Board and the Office of Legislative Services project the state's revenue based on last year's revenue and upcoming revenue projections. They do an economic outlook to inform the governor's proposed budget. After that, the governor delivers the budget address. The proposed budget is introduced to the legislature and to the public, again, outlining the administration's funding priorities. And then it goes to the legislative review process. So the legislative review process begins with public hearings, which are held by the Senate and Assembly budget committees. And this is when members of the public can present their concerns, issues, grievances before the committee as it pertains to the state budget. After that, heads of state agencies or commissioners testify before the Senate and Assembly budget committees to present and justify their individual agency budgets. And then, again, lawmakers negotiate different changes to the budget based on legislative priorities and stakeholder feedback. And then the budget, which is eventually drafted into an actual piece of legislation, goes through the same process that any other piece of legislation would. It's considered by the Senate and Assembly budget committees, and then goes to the full Senate and the full Assembly for a vote before being passed by the legislature. So if the legislature votes it out of the legislature, the governor signs the budget into law, and he or she has the power to veto or remove certain or specific line items or make conditional recommendations. After the budget is signed into law, implementation goes into effect. So that's when funds are allocated, money is spent, and then it goes back into the same cycle. The Treasury and the Office of Management Budgets track what spending looks like for the state in preparation for the next year's fiscal year. So in terms of influencing New Jersey's state budget, there are ways and opportunities to engage in the process. We have public hearings, which are key opportunities for advocates to weigh in on funding priorities. By presenting testimony, organizations and individuals can present concerns and priorities directly to lawmakers to provide insight on how and why certain funding impacts populations in need. You also have direct engagement opportunities. Calls, meetings, and emails to state legislators help shape their understanding about issues and therefore shape their decision-making. We emphasize or would encourage early action. Advocacy should start before the budget is finalized. For some practical tips for engaging in the process, first, again, engage legislators. Advocate for key issues by contacting legislators via phone, via email, to engage them and to highlight issues that are of importance to you or the organization or the populations you represent. Learn about the process. Understand key budget steps and timelines. Stay informed through advocacy organizations and government updates. You can take action today. Contact your legislator and mobilize others by sharing key issues and action alerts. And stay connected. Follow advocacy groups like ACNJ. Sign up for newsletters to track policy developments to understand what's going on in real time. And lastly, upcoming advocacy opportunities again include participation in the budget hearings, which will take place mid to late March of this year. So you can go to Trenton to testify publicly or verbally, as well as submit written testimonies and attend advocacy events to, again, understand what's going on in real time. With that, I'll close and open the floor for any questions.